Welcome to another review with the brand new Motorola Moto E. The E is the successor of the G, but it's not a better device because the G just got also a few upgrades. It has now LTE and a microSD slot, which also the Moto E has. At least the microSD slot, LTE, of course, not built in a $119 smartphone, but still pretty great device. It's lightweight, has 1 gig of RAM, 4 gigs of internal memory that you can expand with the microSD up to 32 gigs. You can take off the back cover still, buy yourself some Moto shells, for example. Here it is from the Moto G, a shell, but the same way you can change here also the colors because the body is either available in black or white. Now the screen has 4.3 inches, 960 times 540 pixel QHD resolution. This is not a speaker, this is just some design element, or maybe even the microphone, since here on the bottom we can't actually see a microphone. And then the second microphone for conference calls is of course built in right here on top. Also the microphone and headphone port is right here. On the left side there's nothing. You're able to see the micro USB on the bottom, and on this side we have the volume rocker and the on and off switch. On the back there's a 5 megapixel camera with no flashlight. Here still the Motorola logo, and it's the easiest to take off the back cover by just having your one finger here on the Motorola logo and just lifting here up the back cover on the bottom. Still pretty hard to get it off though, but after a little bit of practice you will succeed. And then you can see the battery is not interchangeable, has 1980 milliamps, 1980. We have micro SD slot right here, as I mentioned before, and the SIM card reader also right there. Some metal elements here, which are probably the antenna, and also the here the camera is also nicely protected. But nothing else to see there on the back, no interchangeable battery, but as I said, you can buy yourself different shells if you would want that, and just put them on here like that, and then you can go ahead and use your Moto E in the color you want. We have built-in Wi-Fi, B, G and N, no AC or A, but we have up to 24 hours of battery life probably. You have to check that out. It's a Snapdragon 200 processor inside, which is a dual-core processor and 1.2 GHz, but also a single-core Adreno 302 GPU is built in for gaming. There's the standard Google Apps installed, as you can see, since this is still a phone that was built in partnership with Google before Lenovo took over. And we will go a little bit through the software, like for example the 5 megapixel camera, what you can do with it, how fast it is. For example, let's just put here an iPhone in the picture and try to shoot that quite sharply, but it's not that easy because it's a fixed focus camera, and as soon as I here press the button you can see that it actually shoots the picture, which you can of course set up here on the left. As you see here, there's a few settings that we can choose from, but also if I just swipe to the other side, here's a few pictures that I took before. So you can go right away into the gallery, and you see how snappy the software is. It's quite fast, and I can also record here a 720p video if I just hit here the button. And then the timer goes off. I can shoot some pictures, just pause the video, and here for example you can shoot a picture while you're doing the video, and you can of course also flip the phone, and the time for some reason doesn't flip with it, which is quite strange since usually we record in widescreen mode. So otherwise, as I said, regular apps, but let's still check out for example here the keyboard, which is, as you can see, standard Google keyboard, flipping also quite quickly here with. Actually, this is an IPS display when we look at the spec sheet, and there's an optically bonded display, which means that we are indoors right now and there should be a lot of reflection here. You should see myself, for example, but I actually barely can see a reflection in the screen, which is quite nice, and the angles are also quite good for a $120 smartphone. There's GPS, GLONASS and Baidu built in, and in this price range it's really quite hard to get this good smartphone. There's for example a Sony Xperia E1, which is also about $100, has a smaller screen and maybe even a worse camera, doesn't have a front camera, doesn't have a backlight, so it's about the same, but it's for example thicker and not really better, as you will see in our review soon here on my YouTube channel. Also, for example, LG has a $100 smartphone, which is the LG L40. Also has a smaller screen, worse screen, and also no, of course, backlight. But otherwise, also quite cool little tiny phone. There is other phones in this price, or not in this price range, cost triple that much, or even 4 times that much. The Sony Xperia Z1S or the Z1 Compact in a few countries, like here in Germany. Really great smartphone, 4.3 inches also in screen size, but waterproof, and so on and so on. Check out my review on that. And of course the iPhone, just so you can see that 4-inch device like the iPhone doesn't have to be the smallest smartphone and with a big screen, since the Motorola is also quite small here if you compare, and it's not even that much thicker. And of course the Moto G. Already had it in a picture, but you can see that it's of course a little bit bigger with 4.5 inches on the bottom. Also you can see the differences here in thickness, but in design they are essentially the same, except for of course LED, micro SD, LTE here now for $199, and this is just $119. And also front camera here, there's no front camera, just sensors right there. So thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Balazs. This was the Motorola Moto E with the latest Android 4.4.2 KitKat installed. Till next time, please tune in again. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for tuning in.